All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name's Eric Paulzine, going to be getting into the Week 3 preseason Friday slate. So we got a small little two-game slate. It's going to be the Green Bay Packers versus the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers versus the Houston Texans. And this is a slate in which I do think there are some obvious plays that we can go with, and then there are going to be some plays in which we kind of have to figure out the playing time in this situation. There's going to be a lot of kind of narrative plays here that I'll walk through as well. It is one that I think we can somewhat attack, so let's get right into it. So we're going to go position or team by team and then touching on it position by position. So the first one I want to start off with is going to be the Green Bay Packers here. So Jordan Love, I do think is going to play a lot on this one, but I could see it kind of coming down two ways. The thing with it is, like, Jordan Love has played well in his first two preseason games. I know he had 2 picks, and we already mentioned this, but those 2 picks were not his fault. He had 3 picks. 2 of them were not his fault. The thing with it is like with the Green Bay Packers, they've had Jordan Love play well, Tyler Goodson play well, Romeo Doubs play well. Had they played so well that they kind of played themselves out of playing time because, well, the Packers are worried about them potentially getting injured? Maybe for the second two, but for Jordan Love, he is a backup quarterback. They kind of know Aaron Rodgers is going to be their guy. Like, there's no path to Jordan Love playing as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy. So with that, he needs to get reps somehow. So it does make sense for him to maybe even play the full game, because first game, it was a half of football. Second game, it was into the third quarter. I could see him playing a full game in this one. They've done that before with him in the preseason because, well, he does need to get his reps. In each game, he does continue to look better. So it would be interesting to see kind of how he looks with a full game. And I kind of think that's the most likely outcome. The second outcome would be kind of the exact opposite. They do still want to get him some live reps, but they are a little bit worried about him getting injured. And then the running quarterback, Danny Etling, would come in and be the guy. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think we are going to see mostly just Jordan Love in this one. So I do kind of want to throw that out there. It could be Danny Etling playing a majority of snaps. I don't think that's going to be the case. If it was, like, Danny Etling would be kind of the lock on the slate. But right now, I do think it's going to be Jordan Love playing a majority of the snaps. After that, we get into the Green Bay running back situation. We can already say Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, most likely not going to play in this one. They're not going to play in this one. I will say for season-long drafts, I love both of them. I could see them both ending up as top 12 running backs. Now, obviously, there would have to be some injuries elsewhere, running back wise, and they stay healthy. But I kind of think it could be the Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara situation with the Saints like 4 years ago, where they were both stud running backs. And I kind of think that's going to come down to Aaron Jones getting a lot more receptions and A.J. Dillon just kind of being like the brute force type running back, maybe scoring a little bit more. I do think they both can be solid plays, but that really leaves us with 3 running back plays on the slate. And I do think they're all going to play. But guys, Tyler Goodson has looked really good. And it makes me question, like, really, honestly, like, how was he an undrafted rookie? You could make an argument that thus far this preseason that he has looked like the best running back, rookie running back thus far. That's how good he has been. And he has been going against backups and whatnot, but the argument could be made for that. So my point is, like, one, how the heck did he go undrafted? But also, like, why would you kind of risk playing him in this game, risk him getting injured in this game? He has played himself into the RB3 spot. And, like, if A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones were to get injured, well, you would want Tyler Goodson to step up. And also, if A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are going to be on the field, like, a lot together, playing that much, well, you do want to have someone to spell them. So I could see the potential where Tyler Goodson has kind of played himself out of this game. I'm not going to worry about that too much because, well, the Packers also do have Patrick Taylor, who Patrick Taylor is kind of that running back that coaches love because he never gives you that negative play. So one way to score like NFL games is like you get a plus point for an above expected play. You get a 0 for doing your job. And you get minus points for not doing your job. Patrick Taylor's score would just be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 on every play. He's like DJ Dallas. You guys have heard me talk about DJ Dallas, where he just consistently does the right thing. I mean, heck, Jamal Williams was that for the Green Bay Packers for years. He's that for the Detroit Lions now, where they just keep doing the right thing. He is a good running back. He's not great, but I do think he's going to get a bulk of the work in this one. So he is someone that I do really love as well. Dexter Williams as well has looked good, but they've already cut him once. It does seem like the final RB spot is going to be between Patrick Taylor and Dexter Williams. But maybe Patrick Taylor, he's kind of in a weird spot. He's kind of playing for that 4th running back spot, but also if he has a good game, he could potentially move himself into that RB3 role as well. Get into the receivers here. So We don't expect Lazard, Watkins, or Cobb to play. Okay, we know that. How much is Christian Watson going to play? The thing with Christian Watson is like, if he's healthy enough to play in this one, he will play a lot. They will want to get him caught up. I don't see a scenario where they like, all right, you're healthy enough to play one quarter. Maybe that's something you would do in the first preseason game. Just, all right, we know you're healthy. We want to get you mentally right in this game. We're only going to play you like a series or two. I just don't see that being the case. Like, if he's healthy enough to play in this preseason game, he will play, and he'll play a lot because he needs to get caught up. They need to get some film on him, on some live reps. If he doesn't play, well, then that makes this slate honestly a little bit easier as a whole, but especially for the Green Bay Packers receiver room. So after that, we do have Romeo Doubs. Now, Romeo Doubs, like, yes, has he probably played himself out of this game? Probably. He is going to be the receiver number 4 to start this season, but also he has had 2 bad drops, and one of them was like a catch fumble that caused an INT. It was a weird kind of play. So he does kind of need to polish up his game a little bit. I do expect him to play in this one. Just how much does he play? I don't know. That's the thing that we're questioning here. But like, could he go for 3 straight touchdowns in the preseason? He could. Like, I do expect him to play a decent amount. The one play I feel really comfortable with is going to be Juwan Winfrey. He is kind of the last receiver on this active roster, I assume. So it'd go Cobb, Watkins, Lazard, Watkins. I don't know why I said Watson first. And then Doubs. No, let me do that again. Lazard, Cobb, Watkins. Yep. Watson, Doubs, and then Winfrey. Okay, so Winfrey is probably going to be the 6th receiver in this offense. He has looked good in both preseason games now. Last week he had 6 targets, 3 catches for 41 yards. That's kind of what I think we're going to get from him once again in this one. Like, he is impressive. He has proven that he can play against backups. He should get a decent amount of playing time in this one. And then I think what the final roster spot with Danny Davis getting injured and going to the IR is going to be Amari Rodgers, who has kind of had a rough preseason thus far. He ran a wrong route on a Jordan Love pass that got picked off. Last week he had a bad drop on a 3rd down. He has had a touchdown. He's had moments of good play, but he does really need to have good play. I could see him being someone that they do cut because it's kind of been hit or miss with him. Torrey now Torrey didn't have a good game last week. He only had like 2 targets for like 1 catch. I think he's going to play a little bit more in this one, which makes me like him a little bit more. In the first game, he did get targeted 4 times, had 3 receptions for 42 yards. Like, he's a decent play. He's probably the one I like the most after Winfrey, and depending on the Watts and Doubs situation, I probably would like those 2 as well. Amari Rodgers probably going to be a fine play. Vogelham they did just bring in, but he's not going to make the roster. Ishmael Hyman, like, I don't mind him, but he's not going to make the roster as well. So kind of difficult to figure out. And then tight end wise, I don't really love any of them, so I'm kind of just staying away. Getting into the Casey situation now, like, really the only play that I love for them is going to be their tight end, Jordy Fortson. Now, I do think he's probably going to be the highest owned tight end on the slate, which does worry me because he had 2 touchdowns last week, but it was on 4 receptions. Like, obviously that's not going to happen again. And he might also have kind of played himself into that tight end number 2 spot. If true, why is he going to play a lot in this one? But they also do have Jordan Franks there and Noah Gray, so they kind of have enough guys there to the point where, Fortson could play a decent amount. Getting into the quarterback room, Patrick Mahomes is not expected to play in this one. He did play in the first 2 preseasons. Chad Henne, not going to play. And then you got Shane here. So Shane is a running quarterback. Okay, I think he had like 35 rushing yards in week 2. That's kind of the upside that he gives you. So if he's going to be playing a full half of football, which I kind of think is going to be the case, definitely an intriguing play. But then he also kind of hurts the rest of the plays with how much he kind of scrambles with the ball. I do like him a lot as a play, but I still think Jordan Love is going to be the safer play. Dustin Kroom, not really that interested in him. He probably will play a full half of football. Anytime you get a quarterback playing a full half of football, it's going to be interesting. I'm not loving it. Okay. This isn't McDonald's. He's not McDonald's. I'm not loving it. Terrible joke. Looking at the running backs here. So CH, not expected to play. Jerick McKinnon, why would he play? Isaiah Pacheco, why would he play, honestly? Like, maybe a series. Derek Gore, he's injured. So really the 2 running backs that I see on this team are going to be Ronald Jones and Fleet Davis. These 2 are playing for, I think, the final roster spot now. Fleet Davis is a rookie, okay? I don't know. I kind of think Ronald Jones, it's going to be like, all right, buddy, we're going to give you a lot of work in this one. You're playing for your NFL life in this one. Either you're going to get cut or you're going to have a good game and we'll keep you on the roster. I kind of think that's going to be the situation where they're like, all right, we just need to see what we have in Ronald Jones. We're going to give you 10 carries in this one. If you produce and like really do well, you make the roster. If you suck, you're not going to make the roster. He could easily fall into the end zone in this one as well with kind of ample playing time. But I do think he's going to be like the running back that plays a lot. Or they've already kind of made up their mind and they're just like, nope, not playing you. But also at the same time, like, why risk a player that you're interested in, a player that's like definitely making the roster? Why risk them getting injured? So the path to Ronald Jones getting a decent amount of playing time is there. At the receiver spot for the Kansas City Chiefs, very kind of interesting, just like fantasy football wise. Like Juju Smith-Schuster, probably the receiver number one in this offense. He's been injured and kind of had 2 off years. MVS, we know he is. He's a deep ball threat. McCole Hardman, kind of a gadgety player, good enough. Sky Moore, the rookie receiver that everyone's kind of excited about, kind of the receiver number 4 right now. But like the best receiver thus far this preseason has been Justin Watson. So just best ball draft wise, guys, like I've been taking him and some others in like the last round of the best ball drafts on like DraftKings and stuff. So if you are someone that does that, or like obviously deeper rosters, he makes a lot of sense because I do see a path where he kind of, I don't want to say becomes a receiver number 1 in this offense, but where he does have like 5 weeks in which he scores like 15 DK points. I do see a path where his presence on this team is felt. Like best ball draft wise, it makes sense. Is he going to play a lot preseason DFS wise this week? Maybe. You know, he probably might still be charted as the receiver number 5 in this offense. If so, he should play a little bit in this one, but I think he's played well enough. Like started last week. I don't think they really need to play him because they've seen what they have in him. So that's kind of interesting. And then just while I was talking about it, a few other like last round best ball drafts that I've been kind of using. Snoop Connor. So Snoop Connor, I like a lot, guys. Snoop Connor, we look at it. You have Travis Etienne as like the 1A. James Robinson might play in week 1. He's kind of the 1B. And then Snoop Connor kind of seems like he's going to be the 1C. We've seen Doug Peterson have like a 3-headed running back room before when he was with the Eagles. Like it kind of seems like Snoop Connor has played his way into a role in that offense and vice versa. Like Travis Etienne hasn't exactly lit it up this preseason. He's had some moments where you could see the potential for him to be like a star, but he's also had some moments where you're like, yeah, this is a guy coming off of a injury. So maybe Snoop Connor's a little bit of a headache for people in the first week. And then also Ty Montgomery, most likely going to be in that James White role for the New England Patriots. And also Tyler Conklin, tight end for the New York Jets. He seems like he's someone that would be a sneaky tight end play. So just throwing that out there. But for this game, like honestly, guys, I don't love any of the receivers. Maybe Corey Coleman, also kind of someone playing for his NFL life. Powell is kind of a player that Chiefs fans like. He had an okay game last week. You know, not much that I love. Like if we're playing someone from this game, it's probably going to be Fortson and maybe Shane. Now getting to the Niners, they're probably the team that I like the most after the Green Bay Packers players. So we did get word that Trey Lance is most likely going to play, well, I should say he's going to play up to 2 quarters. And this is kind of what we were doing with Patrick Mahomes like the last 2 weeks. The offense is going to play up to 2 quarters, which is telling us that, all right, if you guys go on and play well on the first 2 series, if you have 2 scoring drives on the first 2 series, well, then you're not going to play after that. Good job. Let's get you guys out of there. If they suck, they're going to play that full quarter. Think of like Tyrod Taylor. Was it Tyrod Taylor? No, Geno Smith. Think of Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks. Like they kind of forced him to keep playing because the offense did not put together a good drive. So I think that's kind of going to be the same situation like with Trey Lance, where either you go Patrick Mahomes and score 2 straight times and you get out in 2 straight drives, or he's going to play like a full half. It really just depends on how that offense does. I do kind of see them scoring, you know, so whether that's going to be a field goal or a touchdown, we have to see. But Trey Lance as a play kind of does make sense. The upside's a little bit capped, but it could be a good play. Very interesting for the running back room. Like Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell, not going to play in this one. I think Davis Price has kind of played himself onto this roster as well. I don't really expect him to play too much. That really leaves us with Trey Sermon, Jermichael Hasty. We kind of know who he is as well. Like, I don't know. He's a 3rd down back, kind of the special teamers now, going to be returning kicks and whatnot. Like, I don't know. I kind of think his roster spot is secure. The roster battle I think we're going to have is Trey Sermon versus, that's weird, Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason looked really good last week. And like, he definitely outplayed Trey Sermon. Like, I think these two are going to get a lot of work in this one because they're going to be battling for that last roster spot. And if last week continues, Jordan Mason is going to be the guy playing well because that's what we've seen already. Trey Sermon has not played well. I could see Trey Sermon being, I don't want to say it's a surprise cut, but I think some people would be surprised that he got cut. So a surprise cut. Like, I like Jordan Mason a lot in this one. We'll have to wait and see on it, but we know this team is like, they will. If they don't like what they see in a guy, even if they invested a third-round draft pick in someone like Trey Sermon, you're gone. You know, we could easily see that happening. At the receiver room, I do think Danny Gray is going to be a good play once again. Week 1, he had the deep ball touchdown. That was great. That's how they want to use him. Week 2, he had 4 targets for 24 yards. Also had a deep ball target. I think they just want to give him some playing time. You know, get him used to the system, see how they can use him. He's a fast, burner. I just think they're going to want to get some reps on him. So he's a receiver play that I don't really mind. Maybe connects with Trey Lance for another long touchdown. But the Niners threw the ball to tight ends 12 times last week. That's a lot. So it kind of does limit the receiver plays, also boost the tight end plays. And one thing I want to warn you about on this slate is we do have to check for like who has been cut. Because Tanner Hudson had 1 drop last week and was cut. Which, when I first started looking at the slate, I was super excited about Tanner Hudson as a play, guys. Like, I'm like, all right, we got Tanner Hudson on the slate, the preseason GOAT. Overall, like, this guy just always produces. It's like 12 straight slates of producing for Tanner Hudson. Had a touchdown in week 1. Had 9 DK points last week. So, yeah, I was like, all right, we got Tanner Hudson on the slate. That's great. But he had 6 targets last week. So those 6 targets are going to be vacated. So half of the targets to tight ends are gone. They had 12 targets last week. And it seems like the final roster spot is going to be between Tyler Kroft, who, we've kind of seen who he is as a player in the NFL, and then Troy Fumagalli. Now, I am a Packers fan. I'm a Badgers fan. He was a former Badgers tight end, so I have a little bit of bias here. But he is someone that I, as like a coach, would be intrigued to see because you saw what he did in college. He's been so banged up in the NFL. Sorry, my cat is just making some noise. You want to see what you have in him. And so it makes the most sense to get him a lot of playing time in this one. I still think Tyler Kroft and Troy Fumagalli are going to get a lot of playing time in this one, but I kind of like the ceiling a lot more for Troy Fumagalli. I have a little bit more confidence in him to produce, but once again, there probably is a bias there. Then looking at, like, if the starters for the Niners are going to be playing a decent amount, I like them, especially with the Houston Texans starting kind of struggling a little bit last week. Switching over into the Texans, I kind of think we're going to see what we saw in week 2 of the NFL preseason for the Texans, at least, where Davis Mills and Kyle Allen are going to get a decent amount of reps in this one, and then Draft Driscoll is going to fill in at the end of the game where need be. They want to get their looks in on these 2 players, and then Driscoll is going to play. Does it make sense to play your starting quarterback week 3 in the preseason? No. So we do have to kind of confirm that. I could see us gain a lot of Kyle Allen, actually. So we do have to wait and see what the playing time is going to be like for the Houston Texans. And then get into the running back room. It is kind of difficult to predict. They got a bunch of veteran running backs that haven't really done well thus far this preseason. And they got Dameon Pierce, who seems to have played his way into the RB1 role. Like, Davis Mills played last week, but Pierce did not. That was kind of a head scratcher. And kind of the thought process would be that he's like the running back 1 already. And like, sorry, my cat's just making a bunch of noise. He's already the running back 1 in that like room. So like, maybe they're just like, all right, we don't need to see him. Like, there's no competition there. We know he's going to be our RB1. That's why they sat him. But then why are you playing Davis Mills? That's kind of strange to me, Is Marlon Mack going to play in this one? Is Rex Burkhead going to play in this one? I don't really know. Like, Royce Freeman has gone over 20 carries and like only 60 yards. So he hasn't been playing well, but he has been getting a lot of touches. Could he be someone we look at? Maybe, but he hasn't exactly been, giving us confidence as a play. Maybe Dare Gumbawale, someone that is basically the exact same player as Rex Burkhead, gets some work in this one. Like, it's tough to figure out what they're going to do running back wise. Then looking at the receivers, I do just want to mention Nico Collins, guys. Nico Collins is basically already a free square as a receiver number 2 in an offense in drafts. Like, you can get him so late in drafts and feel good about getting a receiver number 2. Now, he didn't really look good in his rookie year, but still, you're getting a receiver number 2 late in drafts. Okay. Sorry. They're done now. All right. You're getting a receiver number 2 late in best ball drafts, which I think is great. Like, Nico Collins produced last week, though. Okay. He had 6 targets, 4 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. And I'm not just like looking at the stats. I was watching the film on this, and he like really popped film-wise. Like, he is someone that seems to have taken the next step. And he's still going very late in drafts. Like, he is kind of basically a free square still. And like the fact that he really looked good in preseason week 2, I like a lot. Is he going to play in this one? We'll have to see. If Davis Mills is going to play a lot in this one, then you'd expect someone like Nico Collins to play a lot in this one. But if Davis Mills isn't expected to play a lot in this one, then you get Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, and Chris Conley. Probably not going to play a lot. That leaves us with Chris Moore, Philip Dorsett, who I really don't mind. He played well last week. He is just, a guy that can get open. And then 2 of our favorite players from preseason week 1, which I could see playing well in this one, Jalen Camp, who they liked, and then Johnny Johnson. Johnny Johnson obviously had that slate-saving late touchdown there. So both players I don't mind. Both players that, if they're going to get a decent amount of playing time for week 3 in the preseason, I don't mind them. From there, kind of just a guessing game tight end-wise. Don't really like their defense as well. But real quick, I want to show you guys something real quick. We got the 9-to-5 lineup optimizer live, and this is going to be available for anyone with a 9-to-5 PGA DFS membership, okay? So if we were going to play this 2-game slate, there are no projections in there currently. That's by design, because it's for you to figure out kind of what you want to do there. So what I would kind of suggest doing is go like team by team. Aaron Rodgers is not going to play in this one. Don't want him. And then you could also change the projection. So like Jordan Love going to get 10 DK points. I think Tyler Goodson going to get like 8 DK points. Romeo Dobbs, maybe 8 DK points. Winfrey, I want a little bit more of, so 10 DK points. And then you make your roster that way. You could also do it this way, where you go into settings and say you want to do team stacks. You want 3 players from the Green Bay Packers. At least 3 players, maybe 4 players from the Green Bay Packers in 70% of your builds. There you go. You set that. You save that. You could also do a player group with that, saying, all right, when my lineups include Jordan Love, I want at least 3 of these players. You do like Tyler Goodson, maybe Christian Watson, Dobbs, Juwan Winfrey, and then boom. And then you just run the lineup generator. So just touching on this is going to be available for members of 9-to-5 that have the PGA DFS membership. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to finalize this before week 1, is have one 9-to-5 membership, which is going to stay a PGA DFS membership, okay? But I get that there's a crowd that wants more than like this information that I'm putting out there, that does want the lineup optimizer. I think I'm just going to have that as like a bonus to the 9-to-5 membership, which is going to stay a PGA DFS membership, but it will be like an add-on, a bonus feature to the membership that I already have available at 9-to-5 Sports. So, and if I do like NBA DFS content, like I had the cheat sheet out all year last year, that's going to be on this as well. So it might just become a 9-to-5 membership, but like the base of it is a PGA DFS membership. Like the stuff that I offer PGA DFS membership wise is not going to change. So if you guys want to use the 9-to-5 lineup optimizer that you just saw, it is available for PGA DFS memberships. Once again, that is going to change a little bit. There's going to be bonus add-ons for the NFL season. And like my whole goal this year, guys, is to give you guys that are watching this video as much content as possible, as much free content as possible, to have a good fantasy football season, whether it's in DFS or fantasy football. Like that is my goal. I want to grow a lot in this community as well, the NFL community as well. And with that, like, having all those tools and like kind of trying to promote the NFL DFS product a lot is tough. Like I very much pride myself on like the memberships that I have out there. So that's why like the PGA DFS membership is a cheap membership. Like I don't think you should have to like overpay for memberships, but that's also, I put a lot of pride into that. It takes a lot of time. So like I don't want to have to like commit to another NFL DFS membership where I'm doing a lot of write-ups and whatnot. So I get that there is a crowd that does want that stuff, like the optimizer and like the cheat sheet. That stuff I can do, and that stuff I will have available, I think, on this membership for those people. But a majority of the people want this content, and this is what's going to help 9-to-5 grow the most. So that's my long way of saying, like, if you guys want the little add-on stuff, that's going to be available here. But if not, like, I appreciate you guys here as well. like and subscribe to the video because that helps out the channel a lot. Once again, I am trying to grow here. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. Let's have a good week. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.